Hello my beautiful friends and welcome to Tailor Made Beauty by Kris. Today I am going to be reviewing the Rephr brushes. And if you haven't seen these, I think they showed up on like my Facebook feed or something last fall. It was a Kickstarter campaign by 3 people in Japan, or the manufacturer in Japan, that had absolutely nothing to do with the cosmetics industry. They don't wear makeup. It was just like 3 students or something, and for some reason they went makeup brushes. So they were running a good deal. I have a hard time resisting a good deal. And they were selling their complete set when they finally got around to manufacturing their complete set for kind of a good deal. And so I ordered it, and I think they came in December. Yeah, and it's February. So this will be my first time using them. Yeah, it's about time I'm getting around to it. So clearly I don't have my makeup on because I'm reviewing it. I have primer on my face and primed my eyelids, and I did my under eye concealer because I don't use a brush for that. I use a beauty blender. And so let's see what we've got. So this collection, I don't think you can get on their web. In fact, I was just on their website. This particular set is not listed on their website anymore. You can buy the brushes individually, but you can't get the collection. And what I have here, what they have, this is their number 17. And so the numbers are all quite large on the end of the brushes, which is nice. There's the company, Rephr. Makes me think of that 1950s movie, Rephr Madness. I'm not sure what they were going for with that name. But here is a pretty dense but soft top, flat top. Good grief. Here we go. There. And like I said, I don't typically use a brush for my foundation, but since I'm going to use as many of these brushes as I can, I will be using a brush for my foundation today. And I am using the Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish, and I take about 2/3 of the pump of that and mix it with a little Estee Lauder Double Wear, and just about a half a pump of that, and I will mix that on the back of my hand, and I will dot it on, and now I will use that Rephr brush to blend it in. And it's a nice texture. It feels nice and soft. I guess one of the reasons why I don't like using brushes for my foundation is I feel like I have to tug harder on my skin with a brush than I do with my fingers to work it in. Now that might just be bad technique for me, but I feel like my fingers are more gentle on my skin, and at 51, I am interested in being gentle on my skin. You may know that I am doing a no-buy palette year, which started December 1st, and what I have found is it's kind of crept. I've had scope creep in a good way, though. It's crept into other parts of my makeup buying routine, and so for foundation, I am using these 2 foundations until I use them up. And so I am very familiar with how they perform and how they look, doing it my traditional way, which like I said is fingers and then a damp beauty blender. So I will say that, I'm just going to check, I've got a 7X mirror here, hold on. All right, I will say that, you know what, it went on nicely, but that the coverage isn't what I normally get out of that quantity that I put on the back of my hand, so I am going in with a little bit more to try to build that to where I would have gotten it with my fingers and a beauty blender. So like I said, I don't use the beauty blender to apply the foundation. Put it on with my fingers, rub it in completely, and then pounce with the beauty blender, basically even it out and pick up any excess. Here, you know what, I didn't pick it up with the brush before. Oh, of course I've got a hair there. All right, so I picked it up this time with the brush and I'm now working it in. These are soft brushes. I mean, it's not like soft. The texture is nice and soft. It's certainly dense enough to do the job. It's also, you know, I mean, for a foundation brush, gosh, that's kind of small. So, the brush for the brush's sake, yeah, I like it. Will I use it for foundation? Nope, that's just not my thing. Not a big enough game changer for me, so I won't be doing that. Oh, and I have a bristle that fell out of the brush. Oh, I have a few of them. So I'm trying really hard to pick it up and not being really hard to pick up out of the foundation. All right, so 2 bristles from the brush came off while applying the foundation, which I don't think that's very good. Let's see, let's look for something to do setting powder with. This sure looks like a nice big fluffy brush. This is the 11, and I have my cheat sheet I printed out from their website so I would know what these brushes are. And of course, the 11 isn't on my list. Apparently this is one that you can't buy individually or in a set, but I mean, gosh, that sure looks like a big old powder brush. So using the Cover FX, the Perfect Setting Powder, which I am really, really enjoying this powder. And what I do, it's great for travel because it has a cover that's hinged. And then what I do is tap it into the cap. Okay. So using the number 11, ooh, fluffy and very big, very fluffy, very big. If you like to lay down kind of a little bit more powder, I don't think you'd like this brush. This is, can you see when I put it on my face, how big it goes? It is just so fluffy. And let me see here, looking in the mirror now, I will say that I like that. That did a really nice job of applying a thin layer of powder very evenly, didn't grab anywhere, so okay. I like the 11. And can you see, these handles are really thick. They're big, beefy handles. They feel good in the hand. Moving on to something that looks like a contour brush. Did I even show you these after I opened up the box? So here's one set, and then this sure looks like the eye set, which we'll be getting to in just a moment. Okay, so what they list for contour is on a different page. Aha, the number 4. So let's see if I can find the number 4. Here is the number 4 brush. So you can see it's angled. So they say contour or precision application of blushes. So I have the Charlotte Tilbury, the Film Star palette, and yes, I hit pan, yay! This is also something that I have just been using until I use it up. So I will say that that feels a little on the stiff side to me, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You know, you do sort of want precision with applying your contour. What I'm used to is a bit softer than this, so it doesn't feel this stiff. When I apply such kind of a distinct line, I feel like I just want to work it in a little bit more because I don't really want my contour to stand out like that for everyday wear. Okay, so there's that one. Now let's look for the number 5. Yep, here is the number 5 brush, and this is for, oh my gosh, these bristles are so stinking soft. They're synthetic, but sorry, I'm just sitting here petting my brush. They're so dreamy. They're like butter. They're amazing. So my blush of the month is the NARS Orgasm, and so I'm going to pick that up and put that on. Kind of move it around, work it in. Okay. Do this side. Again, this brush feels a little more dense than what I'm using right now, which is a Sonia Cusack brush, but I think it applies nicely. It probably would take adjusting my technique a little bit to get used to this brush. So, in all honesty, not a fave. Okay, let's move on for some highlight, and I have 2 options that I can use for highlighting here. The number 18 brush, which also, excuse me, doesn't show up on their list of individual, but you can see it's a large tapered brush, very soft. And also they have a number 20, which is the fan brush that I'm trying to set free from its packaging. There we go. So I'm not a huge fan of fan brushes. I guess if I were using a really reflective highlighter, I would use the fan. The one thing I like about this Charlotte Tilbury Film Star is that this highlighter is very subtle. It's not super shiny. So I'll do the fan on this side, and that goes on very nicely. And I'm going to use that larger tapered brush. Again, just picking up and doing this side. You would think that with the edge of the fan, I would have felt like I had more control, but honestly, I feel like I have more control with this smaller tapered brush. Again, I'm going to say that might be because that's what I'm used to using. All right, so it looks like the only large brush that I haven't used is the number 19, and it's an even larger tapered brush that is also not on my list. So this might be, you know, if you were doing 2 shades of blush, you had something a little darker, either in back or up front, that you wanted some precision control for, this might be good for that. Let's move on to eyes. And I have many brushes here, probably many more than I'm going to use. All right, these are the tapered crease brushes, and they come in a variety of sizes, and these are the number 13, 14, 15, and 16. And then for shaders, we've got 1 and 2 here, so a shorter, blunter one and a longer, slightly tapered one. And then I love this. I already own this brush. What they did early on was they sold brushes for and give you a deal if you come back and review them. And this is their number 3. It is a teeny tiny pencil precision brush. If you've seen all of my eyeshadow videos, you've seen me use this one. I love it for right in here, and also giving me nice highlight under the brow. And then there's this slightly bigger sort of precision pencil brush. What do they call it? A high impact smudge brush. I like using it. It's dense, it's stiff. I like using it for precision placement of darker pigments. So the palette of the week, my palette of the week is Marc Jacobs. It is the Scandalust palette. And I am going to start with this shade here called At the Office with the number 15, which is a medium crease brush. All right. So much fallout from this palette. All right, and just going in to the crease. Oh, okay. Yes. This brush is a dream. Oh my goodness. It picks up pigment really well, and it feels good. It holds a good amount of pigment. It puts it down really nicely. I am really loving this brush, this number 15. And as you can see, it's done a very nice job of laying down the crease. One of my big issues, again, if you've seen my videos, you know that if I do the crease, I always end up with less color on my right eye than I do on my left. I have to go back, and I feel like I finally got it even. So huzzah, yay, yippee skippy, this is good. Now let's take the number 2. This was that smaller shader, and I am going to go into Hot Pants here. That is a matte shade, and I am going down on the movable part of my lid. And this brush also picks up a lot of pigment, which is great, and lays it down very nicely. Let's get the other side. Yes, that did a really, really lovely job. What else do we have in our arsenal here? You know what? I'm just going to flip that over and go into this shimmer, which is Cause a Fuss, and pick that up and just kind of go midpoint on the lid with that, and do the other side. Wow. Yep. Loving that brush. Loving, loving, loving. Let's see. Let's try the 14, which is, they call it a small crease brush. It is nice and small. I'm going to go into this matte color here. It's called That's Why. And pick up pigment there. And just start here at the outer corner. Go in a little ways and then work it down to the lash line. feel like this brush is giving me just really fantastic control. Letting me put that eyeshadow right where I want it. And let's get the other side. It's always a little awkward to work cross-body here, but I'm doing it. Work it down to the lash line. And then we need to blend, blend, blend. So I am going to use the number 16, which they call the large tapered crease brush. I'm using it for blending. Oh, because it's soft and lovely. All right, clearly I am much more in love with the eyeshadow brushes than the face ones. There. That is really nice. Really lovely. Okay, and I have not used my teeny tiny favorite brush. And let's go back into that shimmer, and it just picks up so nicely, and I can go right into that corner. I love the precision and control that I can get with this, because sometimes doing this, it's just a hot mess. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So now I will say that I don't feel like there's a really good brush for under the eye. I like that a little cleaner. There is this number 13, which is the smallest crease brush in their collection. And so I feel like, okay, I'll give it a try. Try to pick some up and do underneath the eye. And I'm going in with this darker brown called Little Miss. And I'm just picking it up on the end, tapping it off, and doing my lower lash line. As I feared, it has put down a lot more color than I wanted. Okay, so I'll deal with that in just a second. And yes, I'm kind of just bringing it up to my crease area. Like I said, I'll deal with that in just a second. Let's get the other side taken care of. I feel like that side went a little bit better, so. And I'm just gonna take that 16, that large crease brush, and kind of smoke that out as best I can. Okay. So, I think that's it. There were 3 brushes that I did not use. I'm going to pop off camera, finish up, come back and share my final thoughts with you. And now that I've finished my makeup, I do need to do my finishing powder, so I am going back to that number 11 brush with the IT Bye Bye Pores pressed powder, and we'll finish it off. There we go. So definitely loved the eye brushes. These are, these are gonna go into my rotation with my Sonia G and my Wayne Goss. I would put them up there with those brushes. They're amazing. The face brushes, just not really my jam. You know, I have found brushes that I really like. Thankfully, they're a little more affordable, so I'm not sure what I'll do with these brushes. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to get notified when I post every Monday and Thursday. Have a really fantastic day.